He could have taken the money, no one was watching. But what he did instead? That one moment, that one choice, changed his entire life. Let me tell you about James Carter, a man who had lost everything, but still chose honesty. James Carter sat on a rusted park bench, his head bowed, hands calloused from years of labor that now earned him nothing but regret. His flannel shirt, once blue and proud, was faded and torn at the collar. His shoes were splitting at the sides, and his jeans bore the marks of dirt, oil, and a man's desperate efforts to make ends meet. But worse than the physical discomfort was the hollow ache in his heart, the kind of ache a father feels when he can no longer provide. His 6-year-old daughter, Emily, was the light of his world. After losing his wife to cancer just 2 years prior, James had promised himself he'd never let Emily feel abandoned. But promises are hard to keep when jobs vanish, rent stacks up, and cupboards echo with emptiness. James had been laid off from the factory 6 months ago. Every day since had been a battle, of pride, of dignity, of trying to smile through tears while handing Emily a half slice of toast and saying, "Daddy's full, honey." He had just left another failed job interview. The receptionist had smiled politely when she told him they weren't hiring anymore. But James had seen the way her eyes shifted, he didn't look the part. Not anymore. He wasn't the clean, presentable man they wanted. Just another worn-out face in a world too busy to care. As he shuffled down the sidewalk, dragging his feet past the grocery store, he passed a small alleyway where he often rested. That's when he saw it. A wallet. Thick. Leather. Black. Sitting right there on the ground like it had fallen from heaven, or someone's pocket. He looked around. No one in sight. The street was quiet, just the hum of distant traffic and a dog barking somewhere blocks away. James picked it up slowly, cautiously, like it might explode in his hands. He opened it. Several crisp $100 bills stared back at him. 5. No, 6. His breath caught. That was $600. There was also a driver's license, a credit card, and a business card. The ID read Richard Lawson. The business card showed he was the CEO of something big, some tech startup James had never heard of. But what mattered was that Richard Lawson looked like he'd never known a day of hunger in his life. James clutched the wallet. $600 could mean groceries. Could mean rent. Could mean Emily's shoes that didn't pinch her toes. Could mean a birthday cake. He sat on the edge of the sidewalk, wrestling. This was one of those moments that changes a man, he felt it in his bones. He looked up at the sky and whispered, "God, is this a test?" For several long minutes, he stared at the money. He held it close. And then, with a sigh that felt like it carried every ounce of his pain, James stood up. He walked to the nearest bus stop and boarded with the last of his change. When he reached downtown, he walked straight to the address listed on the business card. The receptionist blinked in surprise as the weary, disheveled man walked in holding a wallet. "I found this," James said simply. "It belongs to Mr. Lawson." She asked him to wait. 10 minutes later, a tall, sharply dressed man walked out of the elevator. His eyes scanned James with confusion at first, then widened as he saw the wallet in his hand. "You found this?" Richard asked, stepping forward. James nodded. "It was lying in an alley near 8th Street. I figured someone like you probably needed it back." Richard took the wallet slowly, opening it, checking its contents. Then he looked at James. "Everything's still here," he said, almost to himself. James smiled faintly. "I've got a daughter," he said. "She deserves a dad who does the right thing." There was a long pause. Then Richard asked, "What's your name?" "James." "James Carter." Richard gave him a long, searching look. "James, would you have time for a coffee?" James hesitated. "I don't have money." "My treat." That coffee turned into a 2-hour conversation. Richard asked James about his life, his work, his family. James didn't sugarcoat anything. He told him about the layoffs, the lost hope, the nights he stayed up wondering how to keep going. He didn't cry, but his voice cracked when he mentioned Emily, and how she still made him drawings and said, "You're the best daddy in the world." By the end, Richard leaned forward and said, "James, I think you're exactly the kind of man I want on my team." James blinked. "What?" "I started my company with a friend. We believe in building tech that actually helps people. But more than that, we believe in hiring people with character. Not just degrees or suits. People who do the right thing when no one's watching." James's hands trembled. "Are you offering me a job?" "I'm offering you a new start." The next few months were a whirlwind. James joined the company as a warehouse supervisor. He worked hard, really hard, and quickly impressed everyone with his commitment, honesty, and leadership. Emily got her shoes, her cake, and a dad who came home smiling. But the story didn't end there. A year later, Richard invited James on stage at the company's annual conference. In front of hundreds, he shared the story of the lost wallet, and the man who could have taken it, but didn't. "He reminded me," Richard said, "that real wealth is measured in integrity, not income. And that kindness, even in hardship, can ripple through the world." James was offered a promotion that day, operations manager, with a salary and benefits that would have once felt like a fantasy. He took the mic briefly and said, "I just wanted to be a good dad. That's it. But sometimes doing the right thing brings you more than you ever imagined." And so, the man who found a wallet also found his dignity, his purpose, and a new chapter. Because in a world where you can be anything, being honest, especially when it's hard, might just be the thing that changes everything.